Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more Race Survival series. And right now, this man, if you have been paying any attention, has been crushing week number 3 for Team Protoss. It is Tyson. Tyson looking like Tyson right now with the amount of domination he's shown. He's already taken down HM, Sharp, and Miso, and now his opponent is none other than sSak, one of the strongest, most underrated Terrans in the world. And the map is Largo. So I'm really excited about this, and I'll talk about that just momentarily. But first, I want to say thank you guys for tuning in and watching on ArtosisCasts. I really appreciate it. Yeah, please follow and subscribe. So, basically, sSak is probably the most technical Terran player out of all the top Terrans. This is a guy that, like, will not expand as quickly as other players. He'll go for more technical compositions. Like, it's more likely, for instance, for him to go, like, a 5-fac 2-1 on 2-base, right? It's more likely for him to maybe do something with a dropship. Dropship isn't exactly his strategy, but I think you kind of get my meaning. He's not someone that's just trying to take a bunch of bases and macro out quickly. He's definitely a player that likes to get his technology out and try to utilize that well. Now, it looks like he's going for a gasless expansion. Now, unfortunately for sSak, we have Tyson already going for this forward gateway at his natural. So, when you do this, the Zealot goes in the opposite direction that the probe went, right? So the probe goes to the bottom right and the bottom left, and the Zealot will go to the top left here. So he will be able to scout that first. Now, luckily for sSak, he's actually sending an SCV in this direction, because otherwise, the first thing he knows about the Zealot might be when it gets there. But seeing this gateway out front, he'll know exactly what's coming, and he can prepare with things like a bunker very quickly, is SimCity getting up as quickly as possible, things like that. So a very strong scout here from sSak, considering the build order that he's trying to go for. And it looks like he's going to sit here and just check on the Zealot popping out the exact time. And he wants the Zealot to chase him so badly. He wants the Zealot to chase him. Of course, at this level, Tyson not stupid enough to do that. He is, I mean, I guess he forces a probe down and everything, but whatever. He'll go up and check about the gas. In the meantime, we do have just the depot going down. So that's going to give him a micro hole for the Marine to go in and out of, and he's going to be able to produce Marines nonstop. A couple SCVs are going to come as well, which is definitely very needed. And the command center gets started. Okay, let's see how he does against this. Now, here comes that first Zealot. Targets the probe. That's a really smart move to start. Oh, takes a lot of damage. Beautiful micro, though, by sSak. The fact that he actually didn't really take any losses and got rid of the probe already, that's really fantastic. But that's a nice turnaround there from Tyson, getting some big damage down onto these Marines. And with the other Zealot coming in, this could get bad. Oh, my God. The SCV lives through that. He's going to dive on it. Oh, the SCV runs up. And, well, the next one coming will be able to finish that bunker off. Oh, my. I actually have chills. I actually have goosebumps all over my body because this was very, very close to getting completely out of hand for sSak, where he would have had to pull like 3 or 4 SCVs to try to help out against this. Like, he barely got the bunker. He barely saved the Marines. It was all like the absolute edge of destruction. But he has defended it well enough here for sure. He's continually making some Marines to make sure he can clean up these Zealots. Very annoying that they do keep coming in, but yeah, it has been held. Now let's take a look what Tyson is doing. He has Star Zone Nexus. Let's see how much slower. Yeah, this is almost done. The Nexus not even a third of the way done yet. So looking very good in that regard here for sSak. Looks like we're going to get a factory up quickly. And yeah, well, quickly. Not really, but that's okay. We see that range hasn't actually been started. So that's really what kind of dictates, like, whether the factory is slow or the factory is fast, right? Like, if you have range much quicker and your factory is only starting now, that's going to be a huge issue. But it is a quick robo, which is pretty standard. The SCV is actually going to get up and scout said robo. So that is a bunch of information here for sSak. He has to be feeling good about his position, no doubt. He adds a second factory right away upon that scouting. He knows he doesn't need detection, but he will need anti-reaver, like, relatively soon. But yeah, everything looking good for our Terran player, honestly. Tyson has had a great week so far, but as far as these openings go, I think he got just slightly outdone by sSak. So we'll see if he's able to kind of come back. Not that this is a huge advantage or a huge lead for sSak, But anytime you see, for instance, like more SCVs than probes, the fact that he got his command center up a bit quicker and there's no pressure other than those early Zealots, definitely 2 thumbs up for the Terran position. There is an SCV out on the map too, which I really like here from sSak. He's just kind of trying to keep an eye on when a 3rd base goes up. Like, for instance, if he gets over here and there's already one started, 100% he attacks it. Like, he'll probably get 3 tanks and just rally over and attack. But he sees the probe coming up, so again, a beautiful scout. Tyson is getting ready to take this 3rd Nexus. There it goes, getting thrown up immediately. You can see it's only 2 gates. How many units do we actually have? Dragoon here, Dragoon here. Nothing else even being made. So literally, there's 2 Dragoons as well as an observer on the way, and that is absolutely it for Tyson. And yeah, that's something that sSak may be able to attack into. You see he's skipping the 2nd add-on, getting his 2nd siege tank, and it does look like he'll probably just go 2 tanks, vultures rallying, and the Marines, and try to put some counter pressure on. There's so few units for Tyson. I can definitely see this getting something done. Of course, part of it will go down to micro. He's actually laying a few mines here before he goes out. Those are anti-Reaver mines. Let's take a look. Yeah, I don't actually see any Reaver tech as of yet. It looks like just a rush up to 4 gateways for Tyson. I think knowing that this is going to be a little bit dicey, like he needs to make sure he can get enough units out that he doesn't end up losing a Nexus or anything. And, oh, I actually missed this the whole time. But this is very sSak, right? Like I was talking about. He really loves getting that technology out. And something like a Wraith versus missile turrets is where sSak likes to go. Now, here comes this push. Vultures coming up from a different angle. The Marines, as well as 2 siege tanks, as anticipated, pushing forward. And where will he end up going? There's no actual probes over here yet. So a run-in with the Vultures doesn't do very much. And in fact, Tyson's not sending probes. He knows that there's danger right now going on, and there's no real point to it. Now, the Dragoon's coming down with the Observer. He sees that, of course. And as he's moved down, he might be able to gain a better position with his tanks and Marines. But honestly, the Dragoon count is getting high enough that I'm not liking this anymore. Right? So we're on 8 tanks. 8 tanks, 1 sorry, 8 tanks. Yeah, if it was 8 tanks, the game would be over. 8 goons. 8 goons, 1 volleys a siege tank. It takes 8 Dragoon attacks to kill a siege tank. So when they get 8 or more, it's very dangerous to do these low siege tank number pushes. He's got a ton of mines all over the place, and there's a lot of vultures out. Taking a look back at his base, he does have a dropship, so I think this is the key. He's keeping this pressure on. The Observer sees that his units are out here. Now he's going to drop into that main base and either get a bunch of probes or things will get out of position. Maybe he can attack elsewhere. Now the Dragoons come up immediately. It looks like maybe the Observer saw it. Maybe he just kind of feels that this is what's occurring, but he's definitely right about it. Oh my God. He loops back in, drops out a couple of these vultures running up into this mineral line. Great SimCity, though. Well, I guess it's not a complete SimCity. The vulture does find the 1 square to get in, and he will get a few probes because of that. And, I mean, that's pretty significant. sSak has to be pretty happy getting at least a few probes after it looked like Tyson had blocked everything so well. Now, sSak is moving down. He does have enough Marines to kind of zone a shuttle out, but he doesn't have enough tanks anymore. And the thing is, he knows these observers are here, by the way. This is some beautiful high-level pro-gamer movements that you're seeing where he's, like, moving around in the center, and his mines zone everything out enough that he can actually move his tanks and kind of instill fear into the Protoss. Now, the vultures or a couple more vultures do get dropped in here, it looks like, and they're getting some additional kills. Look, sSak right now is up 6 workers, which is looking really nice. And look at this, guys. 4 factories. And he already, well, I guess he doesn't have +1 yet. It's a little bit late on that because of the starport. But just like I mentioned at the beginning of the game, very technical player, right? 4 facts, has a science facility, getting those upgrades, and just kind of keeping some pressure on in that way. So, you know, it doesn't look like the way a lot of Terran players play, although I feel like sSak's type of style is gaining a little bit of traction. We see players like JYJ playing more like this nowadays as well. But yeah, it's definitely a very solid, very cool, fun way to play. Now, he is getting the quickest science vessel that I think I've ever seen. But that's going to go very well with the Wraith. You see all these observers sitting around? Those things are going to be absolutely dead as he brings this out. So there won't be able to be any more observers in his base. That's kind of nice. Still laying mines around. The vulture's still being pretty active. So he catches one. This other one is still waiting. He might not know about that one. That's like a weird tile. You might just not catch it. Looks like we had another little drop go down. I'm not sure how much damage he actually got there. Sorry. But yeah, a couple siege tanks there. You don't want to lose a drop like this. This is like a very dangerous drop. You lose vultures, you drop out, you're like, you know, whatever. But 2 siege tanks is pretty significant at this point in the game. All right, sSak moving down. Lots of tanks. Just kind of setting up. Definitely getting ready for that 3rd base, which is finishing up now. 2nd armory is coming. And so he'll be getting the 3rd. And, I mean, that's plenty fast as well. Again, the very quick 3rds that people are remembering from Flash back in the day are not really the way it is played anymore. It is oftentimes a much slower 3rd base, a higher concentration of units in the early game. And that's exactly what sSak has gone for here. I mean, this is giving me kind of a little bit of anxiety as a Terran player, seeing that this is his anti-air. It's like a Wraith. I got this in the pit of my stomach where I'm like, please put a turret here. Please put a turret here. You know, just kind of short yourself up against any crazy shuttle plays or anything like that. But honestly, that's not what's going on. So he is going to be fine. It is Arbiter Tech coming out. And, I mean, he has a shuttle. You're always going to have at least a shuttle, but it's not one of these speed shuttle plays, right? I think if there had been a Reaver at all, he probably would have added some missile turrets already, but as is, like, one slow shuttle, it's probably not worth it, honestly. All right, so just clearing out some of the mines. Oh, just kind of randomly catches. That was the one with 2 siege tanks in it. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. That was kind of random. sSak probably shift-clicked it around the map to go back to his base, then it just randomly ran into where the goons were there. So, a bit painful, but we're later into the game now, right? sSak is fine. Those 2 tanks, at this point, with this type of setup, with this thickness of siege tanks, no problem. All right, so 6 factories for sSak. Some nice vulture harassment going on against these zealots over here. The gateway explosion is here as well, getting up to 12 gates. The 4th base is being taken, but what we really want to kind of take a look at is the 5th base. Are we going to see Tyson go down here and actually take this as his 5th base location? There is the possibility he just takes this. Possibly this, but that one's not as popular. But definitely that 5th base, as Terran is taking their 3rd, is what Protoss is generally thinking about. First question, can they bust? No. Second question, well, it's not a question, it's more a statement. Let's take a 4th base location. So the Zealot's running through a few of these mines. sSak pulling his vultures back into a probe catching position here. Still a little bit of cleaning up going on by these Dragoons. Look at this. He's got 2 groups with 2 different observers, kind of hitting the edges of sSak's vision, picking off what he can. But look at this move out from sSak. This is a manly, beastly move out that we see. And look at this. He's going to flank these goons with the vultures. Oh, my God. These goons are so dead. Lays a few mines here as well, utilizing this huge unit count that he has built throughout the game. Beautifully, beautifully done. And these Dragoons are going to die with, like, nothing. No damage, man. Like, they didn't do anything. Those got cleaned up so quickly. And look at that supply advantage now. Well, I guess, actually, never mind. It's a supply advantage for Tyson, even though he lost 8 goons for free. But no, that's a pretty normal thing. But 170 supply, you're still fine here. I am a little bit nervous for sSak. He's moving very quickly through the map, but we don't have any splash damage, right? There's 1 Arbiter, and it's not... Yeah, it doesn't have its stasis energy yet, so this is a good window. Now, there's not a whole lot of anti-air. The shuttle comes up, and he will put the Marines on it. And here we go. Does he have enough Zealots to really hold this cleanly? We almost have the energy. Oh, and EMP goes down. A beautiful EMP as well. But look at this huge Zealot count just kind of getting on top of everything. The vultures will be cleaned up. And now sSak going to lose every single siege tank. It's been a beautiful game to this point. But with this move, definitely you have to be pretty happy as Tyson. I don't think that the game is over, but that's painful. sSak cannot be happy losing all of those siege tanks, right? If he had pulled back, reinforced one time, came back out, he would crush this army. But instead, it basically turns into a trade, right? They're both at much lower supplies now. He actually ended up losing one of his science vessels, the other one only 2 health left, and he lost every single siege tank that he had been building all game long. So that is highly annoying. And with only 2 add-ons, right? He's only got 2 gases, so it gets a little bit difficult to continue to get upgrades, adding Goliaths, a science vessel here and there, and get more than 2 add-ons for siege tanks. You can't really afford all that. So that is some annoying stuff going on for SSak. You really do have to rebuild that siege tank count. Vultures alone can't do it. And with only like 3 tanks, he has to take a very defensive posture for a long time. And you can see him throwing down that 4th command center now. The 5th base is being taken at this mineral location. Vulture's going to raid it a little bit. The Vultures are very important right now. He has got to make them work for him because, again, his siege tank count is so incredibly low. Now we have double Arbiter coming over. He does have recall. No energy for it yet. He has stasis, of course, as we've already seen. And this is just, like, cleaning up. I don't think that Tyson wants to attack right now. There are a lot of mines here. Ooh, just a few steps to the north here, and those Zealots would have really had a hard time. This is actually a really interesting game because it's such a almost common position that you see in this matchup, right? Where Terran is doing pretty well, loses an army in the center, suddenly Protoss has some control, starts expanding. I'm surprised he actually did not send a probe to the bottom right. It would be a great time to make another Nexus since he is maxed out here once again. But either way, the Vultures continuing to be super, super active. Coming into that rally point, a great move with the Vultures when your opponent has their army in the middle. And cleans up the Zealots there, but the Dragoon's going to be a little bit too much for him. SSak right now, by the way, actually, it looks like he probably just didn't have the gas he needed when he went to make it, but he didn't start as +3. He actually started +2 armor only, which is definitely a mistake. +3 attack is like 5 times better than +2 armor on mech against Protoss. But yeah, that's something that's going to hurt him a little bit if this game continues to go very, very long. Trying to pick off this Nexus and just barely can't get it. Best case scenario right there for Tyson. Saves the Nexus, kills a bunch of the Vultures. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to judge as Vultures don't do that much damage against buildings. All right, taking a look at the rally point. SSak. This is getting nerve-wracking, right? Like, look, his minerals in his main base are gone. The natural, we can basically consider that gone as well. He's got like 200, 300 minerals there. Oh! And, well, that's a recall right there. Tyson! That's a great recall right on top of the armories as well. Brings the Arbiter over to the side. Looks like a lot of SCVs are going to go down. Honestly, he doesn't have that big of an economy, so that's not the biggest deal. If there was a stasis right here, this game would be almost over, but not the case. He does get his +2 armor to finish before the armory falls, so that's kind of nice. That +2 armor definitely will help against these Zealots as he's trying to come up the ramp. Oh, God. The SCV's displacing a bunch of the units. You can see the dance. The dance actually doesn't turn out as bad as it could have been, but the Zealots hold him in a ramp for quite some time. Tyson doing some damage. We see Zealots going across the map during all of this. A huge amount of Dragoons in that bottom right as well to clean out the Vultures harassing his mineral line. And this recall will get cleaned up, but I really liked that move overall. I think that was a good recall. He got it right before there was really any defense up. And now there's no armories as well, which is kind of annoying, right? His 3-3 is going to take a little while to get started. You know, he's got to clean this up. He's got to think about, oh, is there another recall? Let's build some more turrets, maybe lay some mines in here. And it slows down anything else SSak wants to do, where SSak has things he needs to do right now. Like, look, he's only mining from 6 mineral patches. You have to get a 4th base up right now or you're not going to win this game. That is a fact. So let's see where he goes. Like, I think he's just going to push directly down, hold on to this general area, and take that base. We have another base going up for Tyson, rightfully so, throwing down some gateways in the bottom right here as well. And, well, I mean, Tyson's macro still looking strong. He's got a decent gateway count. You know, he's got an okay bank. He is maxed out, which is very, very important. Just kind of staying mobile on the fringes, making sure the mines are not out of control so he can attack in if things get out of position, that type of thing. Has some high energy arbiters here. Let's see what he does. Oh, the vessel comes out, just gets the stasis off. Always going to win that battle. Stasis much quicker than EMP. All right, a couple stasises come down on the side, and it looks like he's just going to run in. The Zealot's getting on top of these siege tanks. The Vulture's massively out of position here. And it looks like that first battle in the center, the Zealot's getting on top of absolutely everything. And you know what? I think Tyson is going to be picking up his 4th kill here in week number 3. Looking fantastic against sSak. I think sSak had a beautiful opening, but Tyson stayed calm and took the correct engagements. And sSak just mismaneuvering a couple of times, especially that one time in the center, really setting Tyson a bit ahead of him. And unable to really come back from there. So, I mean, it's cleanup time basically for Tyson. There's not much chance left here for sSak. Like, he's going to lose this command center. This base has like 4 units on it, so Tyson can easily rally over and bust this as well. Oh, maybe he can repair through and save it. But you see that supply differential, right? It's like we have about 50 more army supply right now for Tyson, who also is now getting probes into the bottom right. sSak trying to stay in it here. He does have those 2-2 upgrades, although actually Tyson is +3, which is pretty reasonable for a game that looked like this. The more Dragoons coming in, trying to pick off the rest of these tanks, even the Arbiter chipping in its little tiny bits of damage. And yeah, sSak, not a whole lot left for him now. Yeah, rallying out what he has, but I mean, these numbers are not very promising. And I mean, you can just kind of look at it as well. Look at this. He just stasis half his army there, which is never a good sign. More Zealots running in, pick some up into that shuttle. And yeah, we should be seeing GG literally any second here as Tyson continues this ridiculous winning streak. Only 8-15 and Royal are still in this. Let's see if one of them can take him out.